Welcome everybody on Ball Python Love, and this is the BPL 2.0 show. And tonight we got special guest Precious Pythons. If you'd like to introduce yourself before we start this live stream.
Yeah. So as you said, my name is Precious Robbins, and I am the owner and founder of Precious Pythons. I guess a little bit about myself. I've been doing this or breeding ball pythons for the past 3 years, keeping reptiles for the past 5. And this was my first breeding season. So thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be here.
Right on. Thank you. And followed your channel, looked a lot into it. So let's start with the first one. And you kind of said it already. What started Precious Pythons in the pure royalty? Like, what was the whole thing behind it that started it?
Are you saying like the idea behind the name?
Correct.
Logo? When I decided I kind of wanted to like build like a brand or have like a recognizable logo, I wanted to kind of tie it back to me somehow. And so I knew I was entering like into a world of like, a really dominant male, white male at that, like, just community. I wanted it to represent me as a Black woman. So I definitely, I don't know how many people kind of know this about me, but my mother is Nigerian. So she's, African, born and raised in Nigeria. And I know, just doing some research into the ball python world, I knew they originated in West Africa. So I kind of wanted to keep with that same kind of theme. And then I landed on Egypt, though, with the whole Cleopatra as the representative of, Precious Pythons. And that was mainly because of obviously like Cleopatra and, Egypt being ball python from West Africa. And I just kind of found it fascinating, so I kind of went with that. So that's kind of where it all stemmed from.
Okay, right on. That is awesome. So you do DIYs, right? You can make some shit like of everything you made. What was your one that you most like enjoyed doing all of it? Like, because I know that there was a few that it looked. I mean, you even said in the last, like the big one, like took 2 guys to load that shit up. Yeah.
Like, I would have to say it probably ironically was the last incubator I did, just because I was a little nervous doing it, and it was not a piece of cake. I didn't think it was gonna be, but I've done like the little mini refrigerators, and not even like the wine fridges. I've actually like, the actual like Coke fridges that are pretty decent size, about 3 or 4 feet high. So I just didn't think it was going to be too different from that. I knew it was going to be a little bit of work, but it was hard. Like, I mean, there were a couple times where I had to put what little muscle I have into like, or my backbone into like drilling the hole. And my brother had to actually come in and cut some of the pipes, because I was like, yeah, this is not going to get the job done. I don't have enough muscles for this. So, but it was really fun. It took me, and I think because it was so cold and I was in my brother's garage, it took me like a week to finish it. Like, but I had to do it in pieces. Yeah, I definitely had to do it in pieces.
Hey, nothing wrong with that shit. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I never took the whole compressor out or anything like that. So it sounds like a challenging thing. I mean, just start doing stuff, right?
Right. For sure.
What morph do you not have that you want to add?
That's a good question, because there's so many of them actually. But Sunset, I would definitely say is one. And Wookie is another. There's just so many, but those for sure, I actually want to kind of get them in the rotation next year. Yeah, I mean, especially with some of the combos that came out this year, I definitely will be getting Sunset in my collection.
So
and Ultramel. I definitely want to get some Ultramel in my collection.
I would say my top one, to be honest, would be Sunset. Like, I don't have a Sunset. Mm-hmm. I love the Sunset visually. Like, I just think it looks, it's amazing. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a number you want to stop at in the collection? Is there a number where you're like, you know what, this is it, I'm not going anymore?
You know, I used to say that 50 was that number, but I'm right at 50 with some of the hatchlings I have now, and I can't say that anymore because I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. But I always thought that 50 was like that point where it would get like real uncomfortable, like come cleaning day and, you know, setting everything up in the room, but it hasn't gotten uncomfortable. The only time I would say like I'm like stressed out when I have to incorporate a couple cleaning days into my week is when I'm like slammed with stuff. So, and I've kind of like readjusted my life, honestly, so that I'm no longer slammed with stuff. So,
Okay.
if I were to put a number on it, I would say maybe right now, maybe it would be 75 to 100. But I'm not going to, I'm going to, you know, I say that with a grain of salt because I feel like I might get to that number and say, oh, I feel like I could go a little past that. So I'm just going to do with whatever like I feel comfortable with in that, during that time or in that moment.
Okay. No, nothing. So I do have an off question that you made me think of. You know, so I was watching the Reptichip video you made, and you said at the time you had the 20, and that one block would last you about 2 months. So with 50, how much does that block last you? Is it like?
That's so funny that you say that because it's a joke actually now. So I go through about, I want to say 4 in a month, sometimes 2 months. So it's like
Okay.
triple that. But honestly, it kind of depends too on the time of year. So
Okay.
yeah, it's about 4 every 2 months or so if I'm lucky.
So here's one of those questions. So what manifests the idea of the whole photo shoot? And before you answer though, you know, like I said, my wife and I both loved it. I didn't say this to you though. She will sometimes, to be honest, lay in bed with Odin. Like he's our cinnamon male. That's her favorite. And she'll sometimes be completely naked or half dressed, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And like, I'm so tempted to take photos of her, but she won't allow me yet. So what inspired that whole, in you know, doing the photo shoot? Because you know that's fucking killer. Because I get there could be positive to it, a lot of positive, but there could be a lot of negative to it too.
Yeah.
Depending on who's looking at it and judging it.
Right. Well, I would say actually, it was kind of negativity that kind of started it, right? So like when I first got into the snakes, people that knew me personally were like extremely convinced that I was a witch, right? And I'm talking about like full on thought I was like practicing. And that to me it was very irking because one, I'm not, right? And then they would say it like it was such a negative thing. And I, being who I am, you know, people believe what they believe, they practice what they practice. And Wiccans, or even back in, you know, back to people practicing voodoo, like all of it is like, it has like this negative association with it, and it's not negative, whether, you know, unless you make it negative, obviously. So that bothered me, and I just thought it was one, disrespectful to the people that actually like practice it, and then disrespectful to me because they're making a assumption based off of nothing, something they know nothing about. So I was like, I'm going to do a photo shoot, and I'm going to depict 3 different type of witches. Right? So like I think what I did, the first one was
the Roman enchanter,
Indian one, and then the second one
the voodoo princess,
the voodoo priestess, yep, and then the third one was
the voodoo witch doctor.
Yes. And it's so funny because I like back when I did it, and I think it was almost like 2 years ago when I did it, but back when I did it, I had like this whole like idea about like what I was gonna do. I planned it out. It took me like 6 months to kind of figure out exactly what I was gonna do, get the props, get the photographer, and then like do everything. And so it's so funny that I can barely remember now, but it was very, very much to like a fuck you to everybody who was calling me a witch. You want a witch? I'll have your witch and 3 others, you know, whatever. But so you know, I kind of did that, and then it was very well received. And I did the topless photos as just an even more like offensive. You know, it was just at the time it was just to very much offend people, and I know that's horrible, but I just wanted to show people I didn't care what they thought of me or what they were saying. But then as like I said, towards the end, I kind of started like having some fun with it, and then realized like, oh wow, like this is gonna be a really really dope shoot, and I decided to turn it into something that I was gonna try to do every year. But then COVID happened. But I do actually have a photo shoot coming up, like in the works. So with a whole different type of theme. So I'm really excited about that. But that's pretty much what started it off for sure.
That is fucking kick ass though. I mean, not that you started to do it against the haters, which is probably a good thing too, though. But like, yeah, it works out,
It did work out.
So you did say in one of your videos, so you were testing to breed mice, right? So you have you started breeding your own rats yet? Your own ASFs? Is that going? Or you're like, you know what? No, this DIY wasn't. No, smells.
No, so actually, the mice. I did really, really well with that. It's going really great. I've had like 5 litters so far. The mice are just like extremely easy to do. I haven't done rats because the breeding pairs have to be humongous. Like they're just like massive. Like I have a friend who breeds rats here in Indy, and I remember I took a picture. So I took a picture of like a couple breeding pairs that I was planning to breed, and I was like, yeah. Okay, will this do the job? And he was like, those are way too small. But they're about the size of, I mean, they were the biggest rats I pretty much ever, like I would never even feed them to, some of my ball pythons. They were probably really, really big mediums. So I was like, yeah, this is too big. I don't know if I want these rats in this apartment. But I feel like it was all like a test, because obviously like I'm moving into my new home in 14 days, and the plan is to kind of like just get a feel. I plan on building a shed in the back. I probably won't build it myself, but it would be cool if I could help my dad's like a master carpenter, so if I could kind of like help him, or he would actually be helping me like build the whole ordeal. That would be really cool, especially if I was able to get it on camera. But the plan is to put the rats and the rodents and the ASF eventually, because I definitely want to breed ASFs. Like when I tell you, like putting rats, ASFs, and mice in a healthy equal rotation to like all my snakes, that has been the best feeding method I've found to date. It's beautiful. Like you rarely ever have any snake go off of food when you're offering them whatever the heck they'll take. So I definitely want to breed all of them eventually. It's going to depend on space.
Oh, someone said drop your link. I actually got to go get it real quick. And talking about that real quick, congratulations. Was it last night, Precious, or this morning that you found out that you hit 4K? Because last night you were at 399.
I know. No, I just found out like maybe like 30 minutes before I logged on here. I was like, oh my god, my 4K. I couldn't even celebrate it because I was like, let me get my shit together so I could go live. But I was really, really happy about it.
That is kick-ass. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I breed my own rats. I don't really have any problems with the feedings, though. I had one go on, like, the hunger strike, not going to eat. Mm-hmm. But she's good. She actually ate, 4 days ago? 3 days ago?
Yeah, it's crazy because the reason why I say that is I've had like gravid females that are obviously off of food eat ASFs like they're hatchlings. Like it's just crazy. Like, I mean, and so when I started kind of experimenting with the eaters that I have that might take a meal every 10 days or 14 days, when I'm offering them like a mouse or an ASF when they're not taking a rat, they'll eat it no problem. So it's just like, and then obviously there's that myth that if you feed the ASF or a mouse to a finicky eater, they might get stuck. But I just haven't had any issues at all with having like any snakes stuck on a certain type of food. So I'm sure it happens though, because obviously it wouldn't be out there if it didn't happen. But
yes, by the way, yes, Precious does have a store actually, and it's actually, you can check out all her links on IG as well and purchase a badass dope shirt.
Thank you. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
So How many clutches are you shooting for in 2022? Because you got 5 this year, correct?
I did.
So, go ahead, and then I got another question
I'm
to
going to
answer
your
that.
question because I'm just going to answer it early, but go ahead.
Well, no, I don't think you're going to answer this one right away, just because I was going to ask which one did you just finally decide on to keep on the last 3? You're like, I might keep this one. I might keep this one. I'm definitely keeping that one. Have you decided which way you're going?
So, my plan for 2022, like I said, you might think I'm a little crazy, but I'm planning for 16 clutches, right? I'm just going to be 16 females. I'm probably not going to hit 16 clutches, or it would probably be the best year of my life. But so 16 clutches. And as far as the last clutch that I did, there were 3 females and 4 females and 2 males. And I'm leaning towards keeping 2 females. So one is was it 6 jeans that I hit in her? No, 4 jeans, sorry. 4 jeans. And then the chocolate female. So there's a chocolate female in the clutch that I really, really am almost positive that she's 100% het Desert Ghost. So I'm going to try to prove her out, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So you're loved by so many people in the community, right? You met Miguel, you met so many people. I'm going to kind of add another part to this question now. So how does that feel? And then who was your favorite, not to put you on blast, but who was your favorite of everyone you met in person?
Oh, that's hard. That's hard because I got to say, like, when I met, Justin Kavilka, I was like fangirl and like, oh my God, it's Justin. I got to ask for a picture. And it was really awesome meeting him. But I would say my favorite, just because of the energy, had to be Miguel. Like, literally, I was like at the show and I was like, doing my little recording thing, and all I hear is, hey, Precious, hey, girl. I turn around and it's Miguel. It was just like super awesome because he like shouted me out on his blog and, kindly let me sit at his table at the auction. Like, it was really, really awesome. He had so much positive vibes and energy. Like, it was great. But he would probably.
No. He's a really good guy. I had him on as a guest once, and well, not on my channel, but when I was doing a co-host show. But it was a good time meeting him as well.
Yeah.
How did you answer? How's it feel to be loved by so many though? Like, how's that feel?
It's funny because I feel like I'm still slightly in denial. I love this community so much, and like I'm always like so shocked. Like when I go to the shows and people come up to me and say hi and speak, and people inviting me on the podcast, like I can't get enough of it, honestly. And I'm just like so thankful that like people accepted me like with open, loving arms. Like it feels awesome. Like I couldn't ask for a better passion or hobby in this lifetime. Like, thank God that I had a son who asked me for a pet snake, because I don't know what I'd be doing. I don't know what I'd be doing otherwise. So I love it.
Okay. So let's just say this. You're breeding and it's a possibility, and let's just say something happens and like you make this new moor. What does Precious Pythons call that new moor?
I would have no idea the slightest. I feel like I'm so far away from making a new morph, but it would definitely, I don't know. That's a good question. I think it would probably have my name in it though. That's
oh yeah.
It would have
to. If I somehow made a new morph, it'd be the Love Gene or the Love Morph, whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. Especially like with my name being an adjective, I can slip my name pretty much anywhere. So yeah, I would say whatever it is, there'd definitely be Precious in front of it for sure.
Right on. Okay, so who is your top 4 breeders that you pay attention to?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say.
Okay, let me make this a little harder. Minus Miguel, minus Justin Kavilka, minus let's go Ozzy.
Oh.
So let's Hey, knock those three out, because I mean it's easy to say them, you know what I'm saying? So like,
that's funny because I mean like their stuff is like all down my timeline. I would say Billy. He would be, you know, probably number one on that list. Man, you made it really hard, didn't you? Some of the new breeders too, because you know, I feel like Niveal Exotics, for example, seeing some of the atypical, seeing some of those breeders that some of the first people that I followed because they were starting out like just like I was, and seeing them make things that, you know, again, they started off with a small, intimate collection. Anna Kirby is another breeder that I look to see, like what she's picked up, what she's hatching out. Ryan Hayes, 31 South Exotics, like he lived down the street, so I just love going over to his house and checking out his stuff. Like, you know, and so I would say like those handful of people for sure. I definitely look forward to seeing their stuff on my timeline and just like rooting for them, watching them hit the things that they want to hit and beating the odds. Like it can be really, really exciting.
That is awesome. Yeah. Okay. Is there any other reptiles that you, besides ball pythons, and because you said, you know what, and you want to go, you know, Western Africa, I guess. So with that being said, choosing I'm going to say now, changing the question, if you could choose an animal that is a reptile from West Africa, what would you choose?
You know, honestly, I can't say I'm that familiar with reptiles when it comes to like what regions they're from. I know that I do want to eventually like get into different types of snakes. I don't know what.
No monitor?
Huh?
No monitor?
I absolutely love monitors. They're so huge. So Cold-Blooded Cafe, right? They have some really big lizards, and I think that was probably the first time I saw like a huge water monitor like in person, and that thing's claws. Like I was just before I saw one in person, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get me a water monitor and like a huge tegu, like, you know, and it was just like seeing that up in person, like you're like, okay, you're gonna need a little bit extra experience and expertise under your belt before you even try to tap into that. So and then again, the lizards, they take so much more maintenance, you know. I could see myself once I like slow down with like working my day job. Like if I could do this full time, I would probably have like an entire reptarium in my house. Like I could definitely see that, but it would have to definitely take some slowing down. So until then, I'll probably get into like the boas and, you know, carpet pythons. I really want to do. So, you know, I'll probably keep it to the snakes for now. But once I can dedicate a little bit more time into the hobby, I could see myself owning some big monitors for sure.
So this, I want to get the Asian water monitor, but the wife won't let me. Not yet. Not yet.
Is there a reason why?
Because we're in the apartment right now, and we really don't want to fuck some shit up in here.
Right. The apartment is everything.
Yeah. So a little off subject. Okay, I asked you before a little bit. You're into astrology, correct?
Yes.
You're a Pisces.
I am a Pisces. True, through and through, true Pisces.
So you're sincere, honest, artistic, super adaptive to your surrounding, kind and compassion, positive and more. What do you think your biggest strength is?
I would say my biggest strength would be the fact that I'm trying to find a word that it makes it positive instead of negative, because the word that comes to mind is almost a negative word. But when I start something, I always finish it, right? And just to give a little bit of insight, what the word I was going to use is that like when I'm starting like a project, I can get slightly obsessive. Like I won't start something until I know I'm going to be able to finish it. Like I always follow through with the things that I start. So there aren't any like half done projects in my house or anything like that, or when I'm working a day job. Like it's just, yeah, I'll keep going until I finish. That's my
right. So bonus, I want to just to get a little more in touch to this. Did you know Pisces women have every zodiac sign inside their sign?
Yes. I didn't know that.
Never. And the crazy part is you never know what sign she might betray in that moment if you're one to be married to a Pisces, as I am.
So
Sometimes it ain't
it's
all pretty. Sometimes it's mean with claws.
That's hilarious that you say that. I did know that. I didn't know it was just women though. I thought it was all Pisces, but I mean, I
Well,
guess
it's men too, but
okay.
I mean, if you're gonna, I'm a Sag, so if you're gonna act like a little girl, don't do it in front of me. If it's a female, it's a whole nother story. That's
Right,
just how
okay,
I look at it.
that's funny.
So this one actually another one that came from my wife. Do you ever take any of your ball pythons out of the house to a store anywhere? And then I want to tell you a story that she told me to tell you.
Okay. I don't, and I would say anymore. But when I used to, I did it for a while, like maybe like the first 2 years that I was keeping, and I would take them to like we have like a canal downtown, and it's like walking distance from my house. So I take them like on the canal just because a lot of the time you find that people will approach you and ask you questions. And I just really loved just like kind of educating people, showing them that, they were harmless. But then you'd have people that were like exaggeratively running in the opposite direction. I mean, like just and that was too much for me. Like I had to stop taking them out because it was just like, oh my God, like I don't know if somebody's gonna try to attack me because they're so afraid of, snakes. So I kind of stopped doing it. But yeah, it's been a while. And then of course, like during the photo shoot that I did last time was on the canal. So before we actually did the shoot, I like walked around with them and it was pretty nice. So
okay. So the story is like Odin gets to go everywhere, right? Because he's really like super docile. Like
yeah.
Like you could touch him on the head. He never like flings his head back. He's always chill. And well, not with me, more with her. But so there was this time that we went to Papa Murphy's, right? And we went to go place an order. And my wife walks in with him around her neck, right? The chick in there at the time was like, yeah, no, it's cool. You bring your snake, and I've never seen one. Oh. Well, the manager came out, and he was like, no, that thing has salmonella. You need to get your ass outside. You're not welcome. So I was like, how about she orders, I take the snake outside. He's like, okay. So not only that, like I had people like that would walk like a complete, like it seemed like a mile around me. Just as soon as, like they'd be looking at their phone, walking and shit, and like they look up at me and they'd be like, oh fuck.
Like there were a few times I'd be walking with them, they're like, oh my God, she has a snake, yelling. Like, okay, ma'am, you don't have to put on a show. Like just, walk around. I mean, it's not gonna jump off my shoulder. Like it literally like was too much attention. I had to like, because there are some people that will like discreetly like, is that real? And I'm like, yeah, it's real. Like, wow, like, they're asking questions, but then you have people like yelling in public and it's just like, it's not that serious. Like nothing is ever that serious. So I actually stopped because it was irritating. But I like to do it, especially with my son, because seeing him actually answer the questions was like really awesome. Like, I kind of made me feel like, okay, you've done your job. At least as a mother. So yeah.
So that was your son in the video?
Which video?
There was a video. I can't remember. I think it was maybe a DIY. Maybe it or something.
Was it the one where I had the girl trying to overcome her fears? Maybe he was like bringing her the snake.
No, but that shit was making, yeah, probably. But that video had me cracking up. Or like, you're all Night Wolf. She was like, what the fuck is Night Wolf?
That was hilarious. I honestly want to do more of those kind of videos, but I can't find anybody in Indiana that even wants to entertain the idea of holding a snake. So it's just like, either you have people that love reptiles or they don't want anything to do with them.
So what you could do, just giving you an idea, maybe you can't shoot them at your house because, it's some random person. You don't want some random person in your house. I mean, I don't blame you for that, but maybe have your, in the car, have someone watch the snake, your son, whatever. And then while you're walking around the park, be like, hey, do you want to see a snake? And I mean, so many people are going to, I mean, a lot of people will probably be like, no, I'm cool. But you might be like, get that one person to be like, hey, show me that snake. Let me hold it.
That's actually a really good idea, though. I could see plenty of people like being interested. I mean, in that, because you have so many people who love snakes, never see one in person, ever. Like, I find that to be fascinating. That's really, really interesting and intriguing, that people have a love for an animal that's so hated and they've never seen or touched one. Like, I think that's really cool.
Very, very cool. So, is, kind of pushing on that question I just asked you, is there one that you favor more than the rest
in my collection?
Correct.
I don't think so anymore. It's so funny because as time has gone on and I've collected as many as I have now, it's just like you get the new one and you're like, oh, I love this thing because of X, Y, and Z, and the one that you loved before that kind of like, I don't know, they kind of just you just love them all equally after a while. I can't say that there's like a favorite. I can appreciate each individual one for different aspects of their behavior,
Oh yeah. Like, so I mean, my wife's favorite's Odin, and as for me, like, I have no really true favorite because I got asshole fucking Bimo that as soon as I open it, he's just ready for a fucking rat. I'm like, whoa, calm your like today, like, I just opened him and he like I wanted to make a short out of it, but I was like, I missed it, but I was like, I'm like, every time, like, you're an asshole. But then there's the other ones that are like just super chill, but he's the dick.
Now, I have a few ones that I don't even hold because it's just like, you just need to calm down. Like, and it's funny because after a while, you're opening their tubs so much that they do tend to calm down, but you still can't trust that they're not gonna, try to, wrap around your hand when you're feeding, So it's just like I can't even. I can't say that I have a favorite, but I have a lot of ones that are like very, very food aggressive, and I love those ones. That's fact. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna lie. So if you ever check out my channel, besides the live streams, which there's announcements tonight on them on the live streams, but I do live feeding videos.
I like.
And I always. So surprisingly and shockingly, I still haven't been in trouble to this day. But I talk a lot of shit in my videos, okay? So I'm like, got that shit, fuck that rat, pretty much. Like, I breed them. Like, I breed these motherfuckers to be fed. Like, I am doing the shit work. Like, at the end of the days, I got to put the gloves on. I got to clean out their piss, their shit. I got to feed them. I got to water them, give them treats, make them happy to breed me, food.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I kind of do talk a little shit.
You're right though, because it's so funny because when I started trying to breed the rodents, I was shocked at the things that I was doing. Like, I was going to the pet stores and like finding little treats and things for them to like chew on to keep them like, occupied, and just making sure that they have enough nourishment and enrichment in their environment. Like, I was just really, really shocked at how much I cared about their well-being. Because when I first got into the hobby, not only did I not like rodents, there was not even a toleration of them, like, whatsoever. And then now that they're, providing nutrients
I'm still here.
The animals that I absolutely love and adore, I really care about the rodents. I never thought that would have happened.
I see what you're saying. Like, as for me, like, it's not that I'm talking shit about the rat, because if you really go back to my first live feeding video, which is still up, like, the moment Daisy gets her, which was a normal, which I honestly think she's special because of how much whiting she has on each of her saddles and all that. But anyway, back to the subject. Like, I got super excited. Like, it was just like this rush inside of me. I was like, yes, like, fuck yeah, like, we are eating, like, this is going to continue.
It's such a conflict because as much as I love the rodents and I want to get them nice and happy and fed and fat, the moment that an eater that I'm not sure is gonna eat that week strikes at that food, I'm ecstatic. Like it is like such a rush of joy. Like I'm right there with you. I completely understand. For sure.
Yeah. So what was your very first snake?
My very first snake was a banana pastel het cloud.
Banana pastel hat clown. Right on. Okay. Well, I mean, that was a quick answer. I mean, like for me, it's my normal, which I think is special. But next question. You've been to expos. Now, have you ever? When is the time that Precious dominates all the expos? Like she sets up in the middle of the expo. She's like, I'm making all the damn money today.
Oh, you're saying like actually vended?
Vending, yes, and not going to have fun.
Oh, well, it's so funny. I have yet to vend a show. And I keep having people trying to convince me to vend a show. And I have no desire to do it. Ever. Like, but honestly, too,
Morph market.
a big thing about that too is that I don't even have to post on Morph Market really as far as the hatchlings go. Like I have snakes on there that are like adult breeders and males. I
checked them out.
I'll post them on there. But like as far as like the hatchlings, it's just a quick Instagram story, and you got somebody saying, "Hey, I'm interested in buying that." So even last year when I had entertained the idea of like, okay, maybe I'll do a show this year, all of the things that I had produced, they were pretty much sold. So that was not an option. But vending is a lot of work. I'm talking like, I haven't even done it. I just can tell, like, and as much effort and energy as I would put into it, I know it would be exhausting. I know it would be so exhausting. So I have not done a show, but I think that I would do it in the future. I just don't think it would be like a regular thing. It would be like you said, like something that was seldom, but like when I'm doing it, I'm about business, I'm like, really putting all effort towards that. So we'll see what the future holds. Maybe it'll be next year with my 16 clutches.
all I heard was everyone get the hell out of the way. It's about to happen.
Seriously.
So just curiosity, do you have any, are they all like from breeders, or do you have any rescues in your?
Nope, they're all from breeders.
Okay.
I would definitely say like, I want to say they're probably all from like very like a handful of breeders. So it's like when I find a breeder, I ever since the beginning of buying my like very first ball python, I'm all about like the customer experience. Even after like selling my own hatchlings, if I inquire about a ball python, a hatchling, a snake, I want to feel good about this interaction that we got going on. Like I want to feel like, you're not only selling me a snake, but you're selling me like an experience. Now, obviously, as an up and coming breeder, I'm not that big on it, but like the very first ball python that I bought it from Jake Milbrand and Campanello Pythons. And he was just so nice, helpful, just warm. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt like I was talking to somebody who was wanting to sell me something like something precious, something like jewelry or something I was going to be keeping for the rest of my life. It wasn't just like, here's info, get out of my messages if you're not going to buy it. He just really was very attentive to like, the sale. So ever since that point, I don't really like when I'm like interacting with a breeder or a seller and it feels, kind of off. So, I feel like that's the kind of energy that I want to have when I'm also selling to a customer.
Perfect. Customer service.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
You want to make sure that they're comfortable. They're feeling that, okay, this is going to be a solid, I'm happy with my buy. It's not going to be like, yeah, but you know what? Maybe I'll trade. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And for that reason, like I said, if I buy from somebody, I tend to go back. Like, obviously, I might want to sunset. The handful of breeders that I bought from may not have a sunset. that's gonna, cause me to go out of my comfort zone looking for a snake.
Brian Cusco.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just like, so obviously, like, I'm always gonna go back, and I want to give my business to people that I feel like deserve it, or if I want to be a returning customer to somebody, that's going to be my very first option. Otherwise, I'm always just looking for the opportunity to meet other breeders, network, but it's kind of a turnoff when sellers are like dry and just, I don't know. It's just something weird. I guess that's kind of like weird for me, but
I feel you 100%. I mean, that's just like you go into a restaurant and like the waitress or waiter treats you like complete dog shit, and you're like, what the fuck did I do because you're having a shitty day? Like, I just came to
eat. Yeah.
So, thinking of your name, right? Precious Python. So and the question is, when do you want to get into venomous? But when does Precious Pythons do a photo shoot with a monocle cobra?
You know what? I can't even finish the sentence. I don't even know if there is any opportunity that I'll get into venomous or hot. Like, that's a huge, like, if but if I were to get into it, it would definitely be after my son is grown, just in case. Just in case anything happens. Like, I just wouldn't want to expose him to anything. So I absolutely would not keep any venomous like in my house while he's in the house. But everything kind of goes back to research. Like, I haven't even dwelled anywhere near that topic. So even putting my brain to the idea of keeping, it's just not even in the realm of possibility because I wouldn't be prepared.
So, I mean, you're the queen. Everyone thinks we declare you the queen, right? You're Precious Pythons, you're royalty, you're pure royalty. So with that being said, maybe you're not going to keep the venomous, but when you do the next photo shoot, have you thought about hitting up someone locally with the cobra and be like, yo, how do you tame this thing? I want to have a cobra shot. Like, I want this cobra in my photo.
That would be absolutely dope. Like, seriously. One, I think the number one thing would be, it couldn't be just me like hitting up somebody like that has venomous. I would do so much research into that person. Like, you'd have to be all over social media. I'd have to see you taming cobras on camera, like, in order for me to trust that you know what you're doing, right? And then I actually would entertain it. It would be all about trusting the keeper or breeder behind that snake, for sure.
Okay. Who inspired you? Who was your the person, not your mentor, but who inspired you to get the ball pythons? I kind of think you already said the answer, but just a head on it.
Who inspired me to start this entire?
Well, no. I mean, you told me backstage, and I mean, so we weren't live. Who inspired the whole idea of getting into the ball pythons? Like, and you said it was
It was definitely my son. Like, but it's so funny because it was so funny because he asked me for a pet snake, to begin with. And immediately I just thought that was the oddest request that he could have ever made. Like, because of all pets, you want a snake? Like, why? And I said no at first because I just couldn't. Again, it's like not knowing anything about snakes. I'm just like, that, no. I got to do research. I got to do this. Like, I don't know how to take care of a snake. It's just not possible. And then, he wouldn't let up at all. And it kind of like a coincidence happened. I'm scrolling down my Facebook timeline, and all of a sudden, there's a girl on my timeline with a bunch of ball pythons. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. So I sent her a message in her inbox, and I'm like, you keep your pet snakes? Like, what's that about? And she was like, yeah, I have like 26 of them. And then I was like, what? What are you doing 26 snakes in your house? So, like, she invited me to come over her house to hold a snake. This is a complete stranger. For whatever reason, I don't know what possessed me. I said yes, went over her house, saw her whole setup. That was a big inspiration for me because it was just like, obviously this was doable. She kind of like Morph Market. And from that point, it was all she wrote. That was the very first time I held or touched a snake. And
So were you like the lady in the video? Like, what's its name? At the first time, you're like, how do I do this? Like, were you all like?
Yes, I told her I wanted to hold her biggest one, right? And she brought, I mean, it was a huge normal. She brought that thing out. And I was like, okay, I don't want to hold it when it's looking at me. Like, it was like so funny because it was the same kind of thing. But I definitely held, and at that point I think I held maybe half her collection. I was obsessed immediately. I went home, I looked on Morph Market, I did some research. Within, I think, like a month of going over there, I had my first snake, and then within like 3 weeks, I have 5, right? So it was just like I went from 0 to 100 really fast, and then by the end of the year, I had 20 snakes, and I had a breeding plan, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. So, my son definitely started it. And, I did it. I created the LLC and the business side of it, and I wanted to brand it and get the logo going and everything, to kind of start something that I felt like he might want to continue. But ironically enough, it's like I took off with it, and he just kind of like, he loves the snakes. He wants to hold them sometimes. He wants to, play video games while he's holding them, but he absolutely wants nothing to do with like actually like caring, keeping, and like how in depth it could be. So hopefully one day he'll come around.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have my son. He called his YouTube channel Ball Python Love Jr. and he don't do all the cleaning. I have to. That's all on me.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, okay, one day, he will. You got to lay the foundation. That's what's the important part. So I'm sure he'll come around and want to actually like know more, because he loves seeing like the hatchlings and the eggs, but like he doesn't have like that. He doesn't want to experience like how it happens. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the breeding part and a female being gravid, like, so, but he has a lot of time to kind of, like I said, like grow into that desire. So if it happens, it happens, but I won't be mad if he doesn't want to, be involved in it. It's all up to him.
Completely. I mean, well, not for my son. I don't know about that. You named your name after me and just put Junior after it, so you better take over.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, putting my son on blast. Anyway, here's another question from my wife. She wants to know, starting the whole thing, your son started it, you said, so has the snakes ever taught you something?
Now, are we saying like specifically, or are we saying?
So for example, for her, and I was like, I asked her the same thing. I was like, that's kind of a weird question. I was like, give me an answer. She's like, I never want, and it took 9 years for her to be around a snake, and it was more being comfortable, and feeling the sad. Because once she held Daisy, like our normal, and like I was one day at work, and she texted me and she's like, you won't believe what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm busy. What are you doing? And she's like, I'm holding Daisy. I was like, what the fuck? I called her. I was like, really? Like, you're holding the snake on your own and I'm not there? Like,
that's awesome. I love that.
So the grow of fear, I guess, or something like that. Like,
and that's why I thought you were kind of going, but I wasn't sure if it was like an actual like technical like skill that you're talking about, or like something more like in depth. But
well, you are the snake whisperer. It says on your thing. It says snake whisperer. So I mean, when my shit's, I want to maybe sit here recording and be like, what did he just say?
Right. I speak fluent parcel tongue. No. But, I would definitely say patience, right? And that's a pretty bland answer, but the reason why I say that is because my very first year at my attempt at breeding, I just think about that time, and it just was filled with anxiety, filled with like just a rush of wanting to get somewhere and be something and do things like immediately, right? There was just absolutely no patience, I feel like, in me when I first started this. And so the very first attempt at trying to breed, my very first breeding season attempt, it was a complete failure, right?
And so, I mean, you did say, and not to bring negativity because it's not, nobody take this the wrong way. And if you do, shut up.
Right.
Sorry. But like you did lose the first 3 clutches or 2, right? Like
Yes.
something went wrong. Like
it absolutely, like, so I lost 2 clutches this season, and I still look, and so I'm not even pegging this or branding or describing this season as a failure. It's literally, it was a complete success in my eyes, right? Because last year when I tried to breed, I had locks, I had females that looked like they were building, and I got nothing, absolutely nothing. And I was so crushed just by the whole outcome of it. And I wanted to give up, and I thought I was doing something wrong. And again, it was just like, it was a horrible feeling. But then as, I came into this season, and before I found out that I was actually going to have clutches this year, I didn't think it was going to happen. I was just like, it might not happen. Like, you got to be prepared, like, for what happened last year. Like, don't get your hopes up. And obviously that did happen for me, but then I had the disappointment of the clutches, dying during incubation, and that was crushing too. So it's just been like a couple of years of me like talking myself through these situations where things don't happen like you want them to happen. And this entire journey has been all about like having patience and, just sticking to this, even though plenty of times I've wanted to like give up. And, with being a mom, single mom, and like having a full-time job that sometimes felt like 2 jobs, it just took a lot of patience. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not a patient person. If I want to get a project done, I'll focus on it for 3 days because I need to get it done as quickly as possible. Like, I'm somebody that wants like results right now, and that is not how this works.
That's the Pisces in you. That's the Pisces in you. You're a dominant woman. And when it comes down to it, like every Pisces woman, that shit needs to be done now.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting for this. I ain't waiting for that. This shit now.
Literally, like, I'm telling you, if I ask somebody to help me do something, or if I need somebody to do something for me, if they can't respond with the quickness, I'm doing it myself, regardless of what it is. So yeah, like this hobby and journey has definitely been all about patience for me, and it's something that I did not have in the past, and I've come a long way. I've come a very long way.
You have, like, honestly, watching video from day one to now. I mean, like, once again, you can build the shit out of some shit. Like, you're over there just being like, I want to just turn this cooler into an incubator. I want to turn this refrigerator into an incubator. I want to show you how to build a tub out and make it a mouse rack. Like, you can stack these things on the side. They got air holes on the side. You're good. You can stack on the top. You're fine. You're good. Just go. I'm like, damn. I'm like, all right, getting shit done.
It's so funny because I've had like other women reach out to me like, you're really handy, and I'm handy, but I'm not that handy. I'm like, you'd be surprised, because before this hobby, I never picked up a drill before. So, like, and now I love my drill is my best friend.
Are you serious? You're over there looking like a professional with the drill. You're like, hey, that screw right there.
The very first time I bought a drill was when I built that incubator. That very first one. That was my very first drill, and I love that drill. Like, I'm telling you, but it's funny because I actually, like, my dad is a master carpenter. He's moving though, and once he is moved out of state, I'm literally going to have to, like, I've already signed up for classes in 2022 to take like carpentry classes. Like, I actually want to know if I'm doing something, I just want to know it all. I want to do it all. It's a disease. It's so bad. Like, I have it so bad. I get like the bug when
it's
like.
The Pisces.
It's
so not joking. It's the Pisces inside you, because that's what you are. Like, and You are you're just like my wife. If shit is not done at this time and the way she planned it, it is all hell. Like it's like me versus Godzilla. Like I just want to run and hide. I'm like, fuck, I'm the rat and she's the snake. Like,
yeah, me and your wife would get along so well. We have to go out for drinks or something. Where are you
this
guys?
would. I'm actually in Reno, Nevada. I'm quite a bit of ways. I believe you're in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, just random, are you a Colts fan?
I would say no. I mean, I'm more of like a Bears fan, so like I definitely.
Oh shit!
I'm Chicago born and raised. I've never been a Colts fan.
I don't blame you. They suck. Sorry.
No offense taken. Trust me.
So next question for you. We're almost done though. I'm not going to keep you too much longer. So do you plan on? You said you're coming up with a new photo shoot, and we asked about that earlier. So those who missed it, you need to rewind and watch this shit again. Is there any kind of other art though you plan on doing? Like, and when I mean that, like, do you plan on doing like NFTs, like the non-refundable tokens, or something like that, where you could give art to people where they could buy it? Anything like that you want to do?
That's a good question because I really do. I love even some of the things that how can I word this? Because I feel like a lot of the stuff that I like to do, like that has to do with precious pythons, like some of the promotional stuff. Like I want to do a photo shoot and I want to make my logo into like a 3D actual live thing. Like all that is art, and I appreciate art and artists so much. Like there's a different level of respect there. My brother's a tattoo artist, and the dude is like talented beyond measure. I just have so much respect. And even I feel like with myself, I have some artistic, I'm not a complete artist, but I have some artistic ability. So I just feel like that I've never even thought about it before that statement. But it sounds like something that would be absolutely awesome. But one thing I'll say for sure is like, okay, so like with the photo shoot that I'm doing, I might have one of the little hats in front of me. I might show it, but I had a woman from Israel make me these crowns, right, for my next photo shoot. And obviously I'm going to do this photo shoot, and afterwards I'm either going to have crowns sitting around my house, which I have no use for whatsoever, or I could like do like promotional giveaways, or, I just kind of been thinking about what am I going to do with these hats, after the shoot. And let me see here. This is one of them.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like this is like a complete pharaoh.
I would just sport that shit everywhere I went.
Everywhere, every day. So like, and this actually I would say is my least favorite. So like the other ones that she made me, like ridiculous. The detail is absolutely ridiculous. So, and even like with here, you have like the snakes on the front. Like it's just like really, really awesome. So I always thought like, what am I going to do with these hats after the photo shoot? I'm not going to just keep them and hoard them around my house. That would be useless. Somebody might want to have these or buy these for Halloween or whatever. I don't know. So I've definitely thought about it, like for sure.
Shit, I would sport that shit. So I got 6 more questions for you, and then we'll end it there. And,
okay.
and also the important announcement. So far, being on the BPL 2.0 show, have you enjoyed your time? And if so, would you like to be a guest again? But I told you something behind stage, but what I didn't tell you is there's a different outcome.
Okay. I absolutely loved, the show. I think that, you have like, it's been amazing, like all the questions, and it's fluid, so I absolutely would come on again for sure, without a doubt, even though your last statement makes me slightly nervous, but
wait, what my last name? What do you mean?
Oh, your last statement, what you just said.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, who does some of the pictures behind, because sometimes on your IG you're like, the one that really made me think about it was, I think you were showing off somebody's sweatpants.
Yes.
And
Reggie.
like,
Reggie
who
Derby.
who is behind the camera? Was that your son?
No. It's so funny because I have like a little tripod. I just set that shit up.
Oh, okay.
Like a 10-second timer and boom.
Okay. Okay. So so little touchy question. What are some mistakes, and you kind of already answered this one, that you made along the way that what you learned from and to look for in the future?
Mistakes. I would say, like I said, a lot of it does like encompass like the patience thing, even apart from like what I had mentioned before. Just I would say that maybe the biggest mistake, because I think that I have no idea why or how I lost those clutches, right? But I feel like the culprit was probably breeding females that were too small, right? So um, the females that both laid where those clutches didn't make it, they were both 1,500 grams, right? But even looking at them, they seemed like they had a smaller body structure than the girls that I was breeding at the time. But I was solely going off the fact like they're ready. They're 2 years old, 2.5 years old, 1,500 grams. Let's go, And I just feel like in the future, I'm not going to make like some hard and fast rule. It's just going to be based off of, do they look like they're ready to breed? And if my first mind goes, they look kind of, slimmer or, what have you, like, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to be, more patient. And, even though I say like I want to do 16 clutches, I want to always make sure that I have the space to do that. I never want to be stuck with 48 hatchlings and no space to put them. That's for sure. And obviously I haven't made that mistake, but I don't want to breed too many, and end up with that situation. So
Damn. Okay. So if everyone could right now, okay, we got 3 questions left. If you guys could like this video and share this out so we could get this final question, which is going to be fire, of course, and also important announcement. So with the last 3, do you think being a female in the ball python breeding industry is easy or hard?
that's a good question. Can I say both? I'll say what I think more of, right? That's hard. That's a really hard question because, I feel like you can look at it both ways. But I do feel like it's probably harder than it is easier, because I feel like when most people think about that question, they're going to think about being a female being easy. They're going to think about it being because this is a male dominated industry. If you look a certain way, people might gravitate towards you a little more. But at the same time, I feel like looks and certain things will only get you so far, so they might get attention, but that doesn't mean that you'll be successful in selling snakes or, carrying the hobby to the places that you want to take it. So I would say it's harder. And I feel like just because I've definitely been in like certain spaces where I felt ostracized because I was like the only female woman in the group. And that it's not a fun feeling, I'll say for sure. And, sometimes I have to kind of gauge myself, like, am I psyching myself out? Do I feel insecure because this is how, you typically feel as a woman, even like in corporate America, sometimes I have to kind of catch myself to make sure I'm not psyching myself out. But for me, it hasn't been hard. I will say that it hasn't. So, but I think generally, I would think it's probably harder for women than it is easier.
Okay. I don't know. It's hard for me being a guy, I guess. I don't know, because I've been doing live streams and videos all year long, and yep, still trying to push that 1,000 mark. Still trying little by little. So 2 more questions. You've had, let's read this real quick. Okay, so there. Let me see if I could download this image real quick because I want to show you because it really blew my mind. Hopefully, I saved it like it, and I forgot it. So in your intro, what is it? It's a pie, and it actually has a black heart on the white spot. That is ball python love. Like I'm like that is the snake. Like
he's actually a leopard pied possible yellow belly. And he's amazing because when I first got him, he had like 3 dots on him, and the heart wasn't one of them, you know. And then as he sheds and just gets older, he has like 25 spots on him now. He's like getting to a point where he's going to be covered in spots. And the guy that I actually bought him from had a pied that I really wanted. I mean, it was covered in dots. It looked like, I don't know, it looked like it's something that would be named like Oreo or something. It was just amazing. And I just like, is that hereditary? Like what that snake is, will it breed that out? And he was like, no, I don't think that it's a genetic thing. Like, you know, this just happened. But it's happening to this snake over here. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's covered in dots. And it just amazes me. But yeah, he's a leopard pied possible yellow belly. And I actually will be putting him in rotation next year. So we'll see what he produces. It'd be cool if that was genetic.
So, final question for you. And please don't leave after answering your final question. I'm going to thank you again off the live stream. Okay. But final question and then important announcement. So, precious pythons. What is something you could leave behind right now? Let's just say there's a little girl that's like, or someone that could be like 40 years old, and they're just now being like, wow, and they caught your page on the side, you know, just randomly finding you. And they're like, wow, like that encouraged me. I want to be around reptiles. What is something positive you could leave behind for somebody that's watching this 5, now 10 years down the road?
I would say that you never truly know what your passion is until you stumble upon it, you know? And I would tell them that me, as like where I'm at right now, just 3-4 years ago, I'd never touched, never held a snake, never had any interest in snakes. And right now, I wouldn't know where my life would be. I feel like I would be lost without what the passion that I found today. That's probably what I would tell somebody who had that tinkling of an interest, didn't really know what to do with it. You just gotta follow that feeling.
That's very true. I mean, should have took me to convince my wife 9 years. So yeah. But with that being said, you know, with me, do what you love. I mean, even if you're into just like, let's just say gardener snakes or geckos, or it doesn't even have to be a ball python, any kind of reptile, and you're into that tortoise, chase that dream, like you said, Precious, and don't stop. You know, don't let someone tell you can't do it. Keep going. And honestly, here comes the important announcement. And I have sweated on this show. I have bled on this show. I've never cried because I'm not a girl. Even that grown man cry. I'm just saying, I've never cried on my show. But this is BPL's final show, to be honest with everybody out there. You will not see the BPL 2.0 show on YouTube anymore. Tonight is where it ends. And luckily, I got to end it with royalty and not just somebody. So I am very grateful for that. And, you know, if you guys ever want me to be a guest, those who are watching now or in the future, on your show, hit me up. But the positive thing is, and I asked Precious for round 2, the show's moving over to IG, not YouTube. So
awesome.
It's going to be fun. And we're stopping on YouTube, but we're not stopping over there. That's where the live streams will be, no longer on YouTube. Until next time, thank you, everybody. I am Ball Python Love. That's Precious Pythons. It was a killer fucking show, in my opinion. She's a kick-ass guest, and I enjoyed it. Oh, yeah. Don't leave. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.